Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the next lesson in the Su-25 Cadet series. Today we're going to learn about the Su-25's HUD symbology. The Su-25 does not have a HUD in traditional meanings. It has a aiming sight. That aiming sight is being used for aiming any weapons, air-to-air or air-to-ground weapons. The reason that I'm making this a separate lesson is that the aiming symbology and the theory behind that is exactly the same, no matter if you're using rockets, cannon, bombs or missiles. Therefore, this lesson applies to any air-to-ground weapons, and also to the air-to-air, but there is a slight twist on that. The buttons you're gonna need is air-to-ground mode. There's no reason for me to tell you which keyboard button to press, because I'm on a Danish keyboard and sometimes that does not translate well into a English, German, Italian keyboard. So I'm gonna say the actions and not the button itself. Air to ground mode. Raise ASP17 glass, lower ASP17 glass, laser designator on, off, and weapons change on, weapons change. The weapons fire is only for when we are actually gonna fire the weapons. Okay, I'm flying here and I will prepare for a ground attack. I'm at steady level and I see, whoops, target up ahead. The first thing I do, if it is a ground target, of course, is to go to air-to-ground mode. Press that, and often you can't see anything, but if you go to, before you go to air-to-ground mode, this is the setup you'll have. If you take a look at in the bottom left, here you have the weapon status panel. When you are not in air-to-ground mode, it will only show which pylons have weapons selected on. As soon as you go to air-to-ground mode, a weapons panel is selected. And when you go to air-to-ground mode, your aiming paper will appear on the aiming glass, the HUD, let us call it that. But because the HUD is too high up, you need to lower it to be able to see the aiming paper. So, air to ground mode, look at the lower left, all greens are selected. That means that we have the same type of weapons mounted across the aircraft, and they are automatically selected. If we look up ahead on our HUD, we can't see anything. From this view, we have no confirmation that we are actually in air-to-ground mode. To be able to see the aiming paper, we need to press the lower ASP17 glass. Lower it and try to have a level flight. You can see there at the bottom. And let's just give it a clear background. Yep, and let's zoom in. I hope you can see my mouse cursor. If not, then I'm sorry, because AMD Real recording software is not optimal. What you have here is your aiming pipper. The aiming pipper is the dot in here. Technically, where that dot is, your weapons will hit within regions, as we talked about in the last lesson about CEP, circular error probability, and general weapons inaccuracies and the environment. Here the horizontal lines are your rough roll indicator. You can also use it for measuring distance and size of targets. And if you know that a building is, let's say, 20 meters long, during your briefing you can measure distance to that building. If that building, let's say at 1 kilometer, fills half of this bar, when the building fills half of this bar, you know you are at, let's say, 1 kilometer. That is how you can use this as measuring distance and size. You have the vertical lines for keeping you completely wings level. Up here you have the bank indicator. This indicator will tell you whether or not your wings level. You can see I have a slight left roll because I'm not completely centered on this block. The closer this top point of the triangle is to the exact center of this block, the more wings level you are. We will have a demonstration of that in a moment. This quarter circle is the range scale. It tells you the measured range to the ground or to the target, to the point where the paper is pointing. Let's zoom out and pause. Let's turn on the laser by laser designator on and off. Turn that on. Pause. Zoom in. As soon as you turn on your laser, you will see on the left side of the HUD a green light. That light tells you that the laser is turned on. Please be aware that the laser has a burnout time. The laser is not in any way protected against burnout. So that means from the moment you turn it on till you must turn it off again is approximately 60 seconds. So after 60 seconds there is a chance that you will burn it out. And the symptoms of laser burnout is that it acts weird, does not measure the distance or anything like that. On your HUD, on your range scale, you see a thick part of that range scale. The range scale unwinds from the bottom up till 12 o'clock to the top position. The bottom part of the range scale is the maximum permissible or permitted / designed launch range. It is not your maximum launch range. It is your maximum permitted / designed launch range. At the other end of that thick bar, you have the minimum permissible designed launch range or minimum range. It is not your practical minimum launch range. You can launch a weapon few feet above the ground. This is just to tell you that if you fire your rockets or drop your bombs after that point, closer to the ground than this point, there's a high chance that you will damage yourself due to fragments, or the bombs will not arm properly, or that when the bomb explodes, they will damage you. So with the rockets, so avoid launching your weapons after that point. If you fire your weapons before the maximum permissible designed launch range, there is no guarantee that it will even be close to the aiming pipper. That's why they have this bar to tell you that within that bar there's a high chance that your weapons will impact, if aimed properly, very close to the aiming pipper. As you get closer to the ground, the range scale will unwind and closer and closer, or get smaller and smaller and smaller until you reach the top position. And that means that you are most likely crashed into the ground. Let's make a dive. I hate this one. We're diving, getting closer to the ground. See? There, when the oops, too far up. As you saw, as soon as we got closer to the ground, the small part of the range scale hit the permissible weapons effective range, or permissible designed range. And as soon as that thick part starts to unwind, a red light turned on in the lower right of the aiming sight. That red light tells you that you are within permissible or designed range. When that light turns on, you can fire the weapon, and there is a good chance that you will hit very close to the aiming pipper. When you get too close, when you get below that part, the minimum safe or permissible or designed range, another light will appear. See? Oops. Let's do that again. The aiming computer in the Su-25 is a very old one, so the way it works is that it's simple geometry, triangulation between its altitude, the aircraft, and the point where the sensor hits. So you see it jumping around, raising the mirror. See, in the lower left, a red light appears. That means that you are too low or too close to the ground for safe permissible or designed weapons release. When that light turns on, abort and do not fire your weapon. The risk of you damage yourself is simply just too high. And as you can see, you have wind all the way through the thick part and on the smaller part. And remember, turn on your laser. And we can lower the mirror again. Lesson is, see your bank indicator. That bank indicator is a roll indicator. Bank indicator is pretty much way off to the left. That means that if I fire my weapons, there is no guarantee that my weapons will impact around that dot, around the aiming paper, because I'm too much roll. I have too much roll. Therefore, you need to roll to the right to make sure that the aiming or the bank indicator is within the top block. So do not release your weapons like this or like that, but pretty much wing level like that. When we are going to learn how to drop bombs, we will be coming back to the bank indicator. The bank indicator is very important when dropping bombs, especially in CCRP mode, continuous calculated release point. But as far for the HUD symbology, or the aiming symbology, that is pretty much it. We know that laser turns on, green light turns on. Select weapon, permissible designed range scale appears. Whenever the range scale starts unwinding and hits the thick part, red light will turn on here, indicating that we are within permissible or designed weapons range. We can launch the weapon rather safely in that range. When we are beyond or closer to the target than minimum permissible designed range, this light will turn off and a red light under the laser designator will turn on a red light. That means do not fire your weapons, or there's a high chance that you will damage your own aircraft. Just remember that the thick part is not maximum weapon, or is not required for you to launch your weapons. It is just within that range the weapon is designed to be used. So this is it. This is another lesson that you have completed, and congratulations. Next lesson will be employment of the built-in cannon. Thank you.